Welcome back to the podcast. I am Mr. Mo. And I am Tiff. That's what you're supposed to say. Are you forgetting your lines from the first podcast back? Shoot again? Oh. Gotta get this right. I'm doing my thing. I'm killing it. I'm over here Denzel in this thing. Yeah? Okay, all right. Huh? Okay.
Oh.
All right, let's start this over.
All right.
I just took a break, okay, and now it's back to work. God made a way, that's the only way it worked. I'ma walk this way till they put me in the dirt. May your kingdom come as in heaven on this earth to me. It's now it occurred to me. Hell gon' burn like third degree. If you know your
Welcome back to the podcast. See, my voice even changed like to podcast extraordinaire. Are you ready? It's been a long time. I know, I get it. You've been off the scene. You've been teaching. You've been doing, as you would say, all of the things.
All of the things.
All right. Welcome back to the podcast. I am Mr. Mo.
And I am Tiff.
See, welcome back, Tiff. Welcome back. It has been a long journey to travel just to get back to this point of you saying, I am Tiff. That's awesome to me. So how do you feel about being back in the saddle? Let me stop you.
So rude. Okay.
I'm seasoned vet in this thing now. I feel like I'm a seasoned vet.
It's keyboard.
So, hope you ain't stopping. Let me check. Make sure you ain't hit nothing. Okay, we're good.
I'm sorry.
Let me first off start asking. Let me ask this. You know what I'm saying? How was your day?
How was my day?
Let's take this slow step since you're just getting back in. You know,
Don't do that.
I'm just saying,
That's that.
it is that.
It is
that's
not
the crazy
that.
part. It is that.
Not that. How was my day? My day was pretty good.
Okay.
It was decent.
So
We go into detail.
just not talking at all.
I am. It was. I had a good day.
The people want to know. You know.
What did I do? We went to church.
Okay, that's good.
So that's what I say. You want details. You said,
I'm saying, like,
you said, how was my day? You didn't say, what did I do today?
Okay, let me take this. You asked me how my day was.
How was Mo?
Hmm?
How was your day?
Well, today was pretty awesome, man. We just got back in town yesterday from vacation.
That's what I said yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yesterday we got back in town from a vacation, and I needed some well-needed rest, and it was good to be actually home. It's different when you're out of town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the spot we were in, it was wonderful. It was enjoyable.
It was.
You know, the bed was pretty good.
It was
you know
bed.
What I'm saying? So, but to be back in my own bed, it's just something about home. So, leading up from that to go to church, I was already ready to be like back in the saddle, back playing, back amongst, you know, the people that are church family for the most part. It's always good to be with them. So, wonderful time in church today. Powerful message preached by my brother JR.
And when you don't have a relationship with rules, eventually it will spin you to rebellion. And a lot of you're in a rebellion state and the lifestyle you live for Christ because you're only trying to follow the rules. You don't want a relationship. So just coming to church, you know, stop drinking, stop smoking, leave the women alone, you know, staying out the way, going home, being faithful. You know, that's rules. But with no relationship with God, eventually you too will rebel.
Awesome.
Reverend.
Dude is one of the most impactful, funniest dudes too, but very impactful.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself today, from the worship to, you know, to him teaching, and, you know, dad, you know, mom and dad actually, you know, like I will always say that they are the best tag team
Could have ended right there.
Could have ended, literally could have ended. I love
In
that we
5 minutes.
have a church that doesn't do, the same rhetoric. So, like most church probably would have did a New Year's Eve service or Christmas something.
Yeah, have something based on the thing.
It's it's so formatted. It's kind of like copy paste type of ordeal. So it was good. And then, came home, got some well-needed rest again from the road. I think the road trips are always some of the most draining, interesting road trip within itself. But I truly enjoyed myself today. So today was a good day. Sing. See how I nailed that? Did you see that? Come on.
Whatever.
Come on.
There's a difference in the question. So you
asked me one question, the same question I asked you.
But you said, how was it though? So it was good.
And this comes from a teacher.
I'm still on vacation mode.
I'm sure that, like, if you put, okay, kids, write a report on Africa and tell me what you think about it, and they put, it was good.
0.
Say 0. and tell your mom I gave it to you.
Tell your mom I gave you 0.
You didn't elaborate. So I get it. You know what I'm saying?
No, now, I mean, how was it? It was good. But like from the standpoint of, I mean, I'll like pretty much everything you just said. Like you summed it up for the people. You did, yeah. But no, of course it's always, I think the striking thing is what was said was that, hey, this is the very last Sunday of the year, and it's like, crap.
Yeah.
I made it to the last Sunday in the year.
You wouldn't expect to make it to the last
Sunday?
Sunday?
With things that are happening, you just never know.
Interesting.
I mean, not saying that, I just knew I was gonna make it to the last. Like, I'm never in that mode, but it's like, wow, the things that could have taken me out or could have derailed.
Yeah,
those.
I definitely feel you.
That's what I mean. Like, not. It's like, man, the end of the year, because it was not that it was just January 1st, 2024, but it feels like it was just January 1st, 2024. Yeah. Now we're saying, hey, this is the last Sunday of the year. Like, it all, I mean, of course, I'm usually in reflective mode, but I think today's perspective and service really made it, I guess, a little bit more, a deeper, it took the reflecting to a different level, I think. And then seeing all of the things that are transpiring in the world, all the things that are, I can't even say the world, within our community, within people that we personally, that we know, and just being in a place of just being grateful. Yeah. Because, there's several people this year that have been diagnosed with things that we, know, or that, through me, but that I know directly. Yeah. There's been, people who have, they've lost kids, but then you have some that have, after praying and seeking God's face and being a part of that process, of people of that. Like, I think like that's been the biggest thing. It's just being a part of other people's process and seeing God's hand at work. Like, that has been a full circle, and so I think that's why, like, I guess I'm at don't really have a whole lot of words. It's at the end of the year. Just being in a mind of just reflecting and being grateful in that point. So
since you don't have a lot of words, should we cut this podcast?
We not gonna cut no podcast.
Just saying, because the people gonna need some words.
No, I'm saying when you say, well, like, how was your day? Like, that's what it was for me. It was, good in the instance, I can't say, oh my God, it was just fantastic. It was good in like, when you eat food and you like, oh man, that was good. Like, today was from, like you said, from coming off of a high of the trip, or a vacation, but coming off that high, having, that time and being able to pull from and glean from, and also too being in a place to be able to share our thought process behind different topics or different themes, and then being able to collectively bring all of that to a head. And then you say, oh, coming off the road, yeah, that's always a draining part, because everybody be tired. Everybody be night.
I know.
Me, I'll be night.
You figure the driver be the most night. But he has to steer, and he has to.
He gotta drive.
He gotta drive. He gotta be away. He gotta be. He has to know when charging stations are on his left.
Gotta know. Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? But I guess the topic today, honestly, could you good?
Yeah, I got an itch. Sorry.
Did your back scratching?
I really do.
That's what's up. I think the topic today, for me, and I've been really thinking about what would be the perfect topic for us. And there's one of these topics that just basically say, why are we back anyway?
Why are we back anyway?
And it's kind of one of those things that, people have seen us come, they've seen us go, they've seen us do this full steam ahead, they've seen us say, put the anti-lock brakes on. We've done so much in this content world, and this is right along with everything in life happening. And nobody has a clear-cut reason of, number one, why we do it, and why we stop doing it. We always get things that people want us back. People always come to us for advice, mentoring here and there, and also being mentored too, which is also a great thing. I don't think you can mentor nobody without having somebody mentor you yourself,
right? Or somebody you can pull from.
Yeah, gotta have it. Has to be a constant pour, that somebody pours into you, and then you pour into somebody else, and then that person pours into somebody else.
Right.
So, and I think this topic of, okay, why are we back? You know what I'm saying?
What you back for?
So let's start with you, because I know me. I'm content driven. I can do content in my sleep.
You can literally do content in your sleep.
I'm always thinking content avenue. Different other stuff like that.
And I'm like, let's just talk. And you be like, hey, that's content worthy. Pause.
Yeah. I'm like, where the camera at?
Where the camera at?
Somebody needs to hear this. Hey, you in the balcony, you need to hear this. So
I don't know who this is for.
Yeah, that type of ordeal. I don't know who this is for. Honestly,
it's for real.
It's one of those things that it's not a space that's occupied. I think we talked about it on the Over podcast.
Make sure that you head over to the Made Over channel and look for the episodes of the Over podcast.
You know what I'm saying?
With the one and only Mr. Made Over himself and his co-host, y'all.
New co-host.
The new co-host, Pops.
Mr. Pop.
Mr. Pops. Mr. Pops. It's like corn pops.
So before we get, and I will address that at the end. And remind me to say something at the end before we close out. All right.
Say something at the end.
Okay, so let's start with you. Why are we back?
Why are we back?
Okay, why are you back?
Why am I back?
Because as you say, you have all the things.
All the things. Why am I back? Why?
You can choose to be like, nah, I'm cool. I'm just going,
That's different.
I'm just going to teach and, have kids run to me in the store.
Let me tell them my business.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's why we're back. I mean,
because kids run up to you in the store?
Because kids run up to me in the store. Nah,
that's different.
But that's part of it, though. Because those very kids that are running up to me in the store. let's go in whole families. Let's just do it in that instance.
Okay.
Because you in the line of work that I do in teaching, so many times you see that there's a need. But unfortunately, how I put it, I mean, there's no way to say it. Unfortunately, there's always red tape, right? So in that red tape, you got to be mindful of what you say, how you say, when you say it, who you say it to, what. But I mean, this might come back and bite me, but who cares? But sometimes I'm like, screw that.
So we're gonna need your donations for this podcast, just in case my wife loses her. And if she does, we're good.
But I do. Sometimes I feel like screw the red tape, because at the end of the day, and I tell my students this all the time, I really don't care about teaching the content of reading, math, science, social studies, whatever the content is, because I can't teach that if I can't make sure that you are, one, mentally ready to receive what I'm trying to teach you content wise. In order for me to mentally see where someone is, guess what we gotta have? We gotta have real life conversations.
So what you saying? You're doing an off book.
I do an off book all the time. That's the we listen and we don't judge. The trend on TikTok, we listen and we don't judge. The listen and we don't judge. I can care less about teaching the content. I would rather teach our kids and our young people how to be mentally and emotionally ready to receive whatever it is that needs to be poured into them.
So you're saying, what's the point of being able to be educated if you're not mentally educated?
If you're not mentally educated, you can't do nothing. I can't help you if you come in. Okay, let's have real conversations.
Okay, before we start, listen. I think this just took a whole different turn. Like, I didn't think it was gonna go here, but we're here now. So let's just go. Go ahead.
Okay,
we're going down here. Send your donations in.
So it's like this, right? Coming off of a break.
Got you.
Coming off of a break is always difficult, right? Because you don't know what you're coming into. That's just like if our kids, well, let's use our kids in house, right? We're a blended family, right? If our kids, okay, if our oldest son went back home, had a difficult time over break, and then had to come back to us, or he went to visit, came back to us broken, what do? We talk to him. We help him put those pieces together so that he can continue to function. We do a disservice if we don't do that. If we overlooked at the fact of his nonverbals, which includes body language, the way he's coming around, like if we overlook that, and then we're trying to get him, hey, go do this, hey, go do that, hey, now you got to go to work and you got to get in front of people to function. Like, what does that do? That does nothing. That pretty much says, forget that you're having the feelings that you're having and you're going through what you're going through emotionally, but we need you to get back to this.
So we need you to get back.
We need you to get back to what you're supposed to be doing.
Social studies.
We need you to do. I need you to. Right? How? How do we expect that in a world where we know that? And you've talked about this on the Over podcast. In a world that we know that fathers are already absent, homes are already broken for various reasons. Grandparents and aunts and uncles are now raising kids. You have kids in the foster system. You got all of these things, but you're wanting these kids to come back and function straight from a break for 2 weeks. That ain't gonna happen. So the why I'm doing this.
Okay, so before we skip to the why, because I think this is I don't want to skip over this like a speed bump. Like you just didn't wreck and run your car through the whole school system.
The whole school system.
The whole school system just got ran over. But what let's tackle this. Let's before we move on, because I mean, this will be the reason of why we're here.
Yeah.
And why you feel more passionate about changing the mindset than giving tools that could be used. But if your mindset is not right, these tools will be mishandled.
Right.
I mean, you can lead people in the wrong way, because at the end of the day, I can teach you what the social study stuff is and what the English stuff is, but at the end of the day, if we are shaping future leaders in our education world, I think the mindset of whatever you are teaching has to go with that. The mindset has to change.
Yeah, we got to teach coping strategies first. These kids don't have them. Some of us adults don't even have them.
I was about to say adults.
Like, if we don't have, okay, you learn how to cook the way you do, right? You first learned that, you told me, you say, my grandma taught me some stuff.
Oh, Granny.
Granny taught some stuff. But then when it comes down to your pit mastership that you do in the pit,
that's a whole different story.
Things had to be broken off for you to be able to mentally receive the instructions. And then also too, to mentally be able to get up in the hours to be able to track how long something has to do, what that process is. If you're not, if me and you going through some issues, you're not going to get the rest and what you need in order for you to be able to function. What first has to be tackled is what's going on? What's the tension? What's the problem? Why do you feel the way you're doing? Why aren't you functioning in the manner that you should be functioning in? Mm-hmm. Like, it shows, because if me and you are having just some friendly discord, or we're agreeing to disagree because you said something to me and I'm like, okay, that's the truth, it rubbed me the wrong way, even though it is true, then that shows in my teachership.
So it's what you said, that you bring your life into your issues, your problem into your classroom.
Yeah, some days that stuff rolls over and you got to shake it. Yeah. Like, you got to, but that comes from me sitting in a spot to where I'm able to, like you said, people pour in, being able, like, I had to be able to be in a place where people could pour into me, to where I know how to say, hey y'all, today I'm at a 50%. I'm aggravated. I'm frustrated. I need y'all to give me like 5 minutes to pull everything together so that I'm not taking that out on you. I'm not having the best day right now.
You better than most teachers.
Because most teachers will be like, you yelling at the kids, you taking it out on the kids, you doing all. No, for what? Because we don't know how to cope with our own crap. I'm sorry, stuff.
Wow. I need to ask the Rev, can we say crap on the podcast? Rev, I need to figure out, can we say crap on the podcast?
Sorry, enough story. So, my bad.
I'll get in touch with you, man.
But that's the thing, because it all literally does start at home. But what we have to first start realizing is that everybody's home life doesn't look like what our kids, like our personal kids, look like.
Probably worse though.
But that's what I'm saying. Everybody's home life doesn't look like that. Because think about your home life when you were growing up. I can tell you what mine looked like. Nothing like this. The cohesiveness that we have as parents to be able to model for our kids. Hey, this is how things should look. This is what functioning parents or co-parenting looks like. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes down to those things, you got to break down the dynamics. And so why am I doing this again? Why am I here? Why am I back in this seat? Because I recognize through not only our personal kids, and we see the things that they battle, but the things that I see from other kids in school, outside of school, the communication that I have with some of the parents, they need to know, like, hey, yo, there is a better way and we can do this. but I just need a little motivation. I need a little push and for somebody to say, hey, I see you. Mm-hmm. I know that there's a struggle. I see you. We're here to help because we ain't perfect. We just have people that have given us tools, and now here we go. We got to give y'all tools too. Whether you are young, whether you're old, middle age, whatever, wherever you are, then you got to have somebody to give you tools.
I mean, that's also too with that. It's not just to me. And don't take this the wrong way. And if you do, my mom always say, "Put your feelings in your pocket."
Feelings in your pocket. Talk more.
I think people are giving y'all tools, but you're not willing to use them.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is you're not willing to use the tools that are good for you, but you're willing to use the tools that are bad for you because you don't have to work do nothing as hard. That's, as I would call it, always low hanging fruit all the time. Like, I'd rather, let me see, if the doctor says, hey, if you don't switch your diet up in XYZ, start doing this to get this down or get this to change. If he give you a B, or you can just not work out
and then watch this happen
and just eat this sort of food, and then you'll be good. You're gonna choose to eat this food, but the benefits of eating this food plus working out you won't do.
Right.
And I think that's the major thing. You're getting tools, but you're picking and choosing which tools will be good. Do I pick the low-hanging fruit tool? Or should I pick the one that I really got to reach up and climb up on this tree and get? But I think that's truly what this world now is being shaped off of.
Because it's microwave. I want it this way. I need it quick. I need it fast. If I can't go through the drive-through, I ain't trying to go to the grocery store and shop so I can cook and clean and meat for real. I really just want to do this thing quick. But what is quickness yielding us? Nothing.
Oh, you getting some.
I mean, you getting something, but it really ain't nothing.
It doesn't last long. That's
what I'm saying. Like, okay, give you we ate what for dinner? We ate Culver's. Boom, right? Wife is hungry again. Like, we ate that when we probably could have had a meal more fulfilling because we went to the store, could have came home, could have cooked. We need something quick because we got to do podcasts. But still,
I'm fine.
I'm just eating the apple later. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's what they say anyway.
Well,
but
that's true.
Even then, that's why I'm eating that and drink me some water and call it a night. But that's where I think we are, and so that's what brings me back. It brings me back because, one, people are asking, hey, when y'all coming back? We love the chemistry y'all have. We love the content y'all put out. People need to see us together. People need to see what it looks like and be able to hear what it looks like to go through, but still continue to persevere. Because the one thing I keep saying is consistency is key.
I said that.
You say it all the time, but I'm saying it's like that's all you see. Hey, you got to be consistent. You got to do this. You got to do that. But it just goes back into that. If I get knocked down, am I gonna get back up?
Also,
because the Bible says what?
I mean, also too,
just man fall down.
Listen. If you wonder why your child takes a long time when they get knocked down to get back up, because they see their parents or their guardian get knocked down
and don't get up
for a while.
Don't get up for a while or don't get up at all.
So I'm that parent that you can't tell if I've been knocked down or not. Because at the end of the day, I know for me, and I think I said it jokingly in Walmart today, but I thought about it even more. And I said, I'm from the tribe, the struggle tribe, because I know what it is to struggle. And I know for a fact we're far from struggling. I know the difference between lights being on and lights, literally candles and all that different other stuff. I know that struggle life. So we are teaching our kids whether we want to teach our kids or not.
Yeah, they learning something from us.
They're picking something up from you. And then you can get frustrated, but at the end of the day, you're doing nothing but yelling at yourself and the disappointment that you see in your child because they are literally modeling
what they see
out of you. You got to think about it. We are the first God that they will ever see. We are the first person that they will ever worship, whether it is good or bad.
Right.
That's why for me, as a father, I try my best to stay on point. I try my best. Men, we have to lead. And at the end of the day, that means we take the first blow.
And then even in my instance, like I'm learning the importance as a mom to be okay. Okay. Yes, as women, we are emotional creatures. Like we just feelings all over the place.
That's true.
But I'm also learning how to teach my kids, yes, I'm feeling this way. I'm going through this emotionally. I feel like I'm here, there, like twist turns on the full roller coaster. But then what do I do with that? Do I consistently show them that? Or do I show them like, yes, this is where I am, but then watch how I get myself back on track. And that's what we have to do. And if we don't show that in our homes first, then we do our own kids a disservice. But not only am I learning that, okay, I got to model this in my home, but then the kids that do know we do content, like, also have to show them that.
Let me tell you one thing I've learned. I've learned that if you're having a hard time keeping energy in your life and you're having a hard time falling asleep, Rise is the perfect coffee. Rise cocoa is the perfect cocoa for you. I've heard so many different stories about this Rise that it is literally blowing my mind. I'm walking in this Rise thing, like information, helping me as far as stay focused, keeping me not really bloated like that. You know what I'm saying? My sleep habits, it's making it, oh my goodness, it has really turned it to be very healthy. So if you want some of this Rise in your life, take time to click the link in our bio or also go to
risesuperfood.com. And then also there is a 15% off discount code for all of your purchases and subscriptions, and it is the Made Over Insta 15. That is the Made Over Insta 15 for 15% off all of your Rise products. And don't forget, they also have creamer and matcha, and it also helps with inflammation. So if you have issues with inflammation, it helps all of that.
We've heard so many different things about it. I think you need this in your life. Get it in your grandma's life, get it in your auntie's life, get it in your cousin's life, get them in anybody's life. But I'm trying to tell you, this Rise will change your life.
So let's all rise
together. And back to our regular schedule program.
That part too. Fix it. Scratch.
Of course. I'm going to fix it.
But even in that, you got to learn how to not pop off in your house. You got to learn how to not pop off in your workplace. Because no matter where you go, people are always watching.
My thing is also, too, I'll talk about it. This year, I really lived it. So that's why I talk about it a lot. It's just emotional intelligence. You gotta have emotional intelligence.
Explain that to the people.
Let me explain what emotional intelligence is. Everything shouldn't push you past 10. like at some point, like I'm at this point. Here's what I do. Here's the exercise that I do, and I'll give you something to do. Like, if I'm at work and a person gets me to a place where I'm sensing frustration and anger. Like I can sense frustration and anger. And a lot of times you can sense frustration and anger in the onset. A lot of times in the onset we ignore, like, hold up, I'm about to snap off.
About to get it in.
So by the time of us ignoring it, we're already then snapped off.
Right.
But what I've learned to do is, okay, I will say to myself, oh snap, I'm irritated. And then I'll say to myself, I'll push into myself once I'm away from whatever the situation is. I'll always get away from the situation. Always. And then I'll say to myself, okay, why did that push me to that point? Like, was it something in my child? I always go back to my child. Okay, what was it, or something I dealt with or didn't deal with? That's a chord that's been struck. Okay. Why did you get upset about that? Like a lot of times, I always think about people who get upset because the person didn't pick up the phone. Like to me, that's like so minor. But to a lot of people, it's like you didn't answer your phones, and I oftentimes I always say, what makes that person feel like that? A lot of time, I think it's past rejection that we have. Like it's something that stems from childhood to be like, okay, something makes you upset because of your childhood. Rejection of something, like, okay, when this person said, you can't do this. Why did I get upset about this person saying I can't do this?
Right.
I'll push into my emotional self to be like, okay, why did that affect you? In a way to the point where you can feel your heart start racing. You can feel your frustration. 9 times, depending on where you let it go, you can feel the hairs stand up on the back of your neck like, okay, listen, it's about to go down.
I have to let it rip.
But the emotional intelligence will have you say, okay, let's dial back before we do something that we can't pull back.
Yeah, before we fully crash out.
Yeah, like I don't want to be the person who be like, hey man, look, I'm sorry for hitting you with a tray or a pot or pan or whatever, because to me, there's no rule in fighting. I'm not gonna say, like I'm probably one of the most dirtiest fighters you ever come across. Like, listen. That's why God has humbled me.
I'm so done.
Like, listen, I've always heard, like, you grab the nearest thing.
I mean, I had. You're right.
See, listen.
You're right. You pick
I've
up
been
the
through
nearest
some
thing and knock
things.
them out with it. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, because
pick up a brick, whatever you got.
It's me or them. A lot of times, I'm going to choose me. Like I said, I'm always going to try to make it home. That's just me. So, but the emotional intelligence was have me say, okay, push in and figure out why.
And that's your coping mechanism too, though.
Yeah.
Because that's where you figure out what your triggers are. And so that's why I said, because some people don't use the emotional intelligence, but to be able to explain it and then connect it to what modern day terms are. So that's your coping and identifying what your trigger points is. That's what the emotional intelligence does. Is why am I crashing out?
Yeah.
And for what reason am I feeling this way? And wasn't even intentional, because I have to do that a lot of times.
But you got to think about it too. Is it worth it?
Right.
Like,
And I think a lot of times we don't model that enough for other adults that don't have those things. And it's definitely not being modeled for children because, everything is, no shot to the counselors and the therapists, but square breathing, this, deep breaths, take a walk, self-care, this.
It's square breathing?
Yeah, it's called square breathing.
What the is that?
Like, it's you hold your breath for, I think it's like 4 seconds, and then you let it go 4 seconds. Hold it, and then release 4 seconds. That's square breathing. Because it's 4-4-4.
Oh, square.
Square. The square.
Okay.
Yeah. So
stupid. Stop. I'm joking. I'm joking.
We're gonna be in all kind of trouble on this one. But
Sorry, I'm joking. I am joking.
But no, like I said, that's why I said no slack. Because we can get, I wish I had one of the little things, but you know, you got the stress balls. We have the little we got fidgets. We got all of these things, but we're not really dealing with the root. And I think
you know what's crazy? We never had none of this stuff back when I was
heck no. Oh, sorry, heck no, we didn't.
Rev, can we say heck no on this podcast? Just let us know, Rev, if we can say heck no on this podcast.
We didn't have all that.
Right.
But the one thing I can say is, despite the household that I grew up in and the things that I saw growing up, I did learn coping mechanisms on most things. Now, I ain't learned about, what they call crashing out. I ain't crash out. I hugged out. Difference. Same thing, really. About the same thing. I meant no difference. But once I learned that, is now I'm teaching others, hey, the only difference between your attitude and mine is I've learned how to deal with it. And I know how to count myself down. Cause you do the reflection of what's my trigger or what's my root that's causing this trigger. Mm-hmm. For me, what I've learned to do, even in our own house, when our kids, when the little one is, she acting like me most times. But I've had to allow them to watch me calm myself down, which may be closing my eyes and me counting to 5 or counting down from 5 or whatever it is, to where one, I'm very cognizant of when my tone needs to be stern. And then yelling. Mm-hmm. Those are two of the things where I've modeled. We're not going to yell in the house. Now, do I have to sometimes put a deeper tone? So then that way now we understand the difference between, you mama and I'm child, to bring that back around. Then yeah. But that is something that brings me, like I said, back to this seat. I'm in this seat because even though life has been lifing, being an adult has truly not been like all peaches and cream and cakes and ice creams and all that stuff. Things happen in life, but then how do we move on?
That's crazy. It's been peaches and cream and ice cream.
Look at you.
Like it has.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. But we're two totally different. There's been, when I say it like that, meaning we've had some blows. We've had some blows. You have dealt with some of that in a different manner than what I have, because that's where you do your emotional intelligence.
Well, I also do not only emotional intelligence, but my emotional, I have I would say what can we call it? Therapist, help me out. Don't give me the square breathing stuff either. Give me the circle breathing. But what I do is I think about, okay, where does it stem from? Mm-hmm. And literally, if I fall into it, what are the consequences?
Yeah.
And to me, that equals emotional intelligence, because once you figure out where it stems from,
your root. What's your root?
I remember my dad, he said he didn't want me. So I felt rejected. So I felt like, I'm your son, you should want me.
Right.
Other part is, okay, what is the consequences of if I do hit this guy with this frying pan or anything? What's the consequences of that? He might die if you hit him wrong.
Yeah, he's gonna die.
You going to jail.
You going to jail?
That's assault, sir.
That's definitely assault. If he dies, he got a whole other issue on your
hand. Yeah. So you're supposed to be a believer. Mm-hmm. What does that show? And what does that prove? Bible says turn the other cheek. He didn't say turn,
grab a pan,
or hit somebody with something. That's far from it. So what is that showing as a believer? You say you love Jesus, but is this Jesus' action?
Yeah.
This is a man who was whooped, beaten, put on the cross, who had the power to literally wipe everything out, but chose not to. Mm-hmm. So what are you showing? So that's where that's what I call emotional intelligence. I don't know what you can label that as. All my therapists let me know what that is, and if so, just call it the Mo way.
The Mo way. But what I was saying was, when I say that you and I cope differently. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm saying, because you have learned to reflect back on what's the root of this, what are my consequences if I do this, if I do that. You have learned to do that to help you to cope through the things that life has dealt us.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, being the emotional one, is I've had to learn not necessarily the root cause of why am I feeling that way, but more so going through the processes of I'm feeling this way because, and then acknowledging that I do feel that, or I am having that emotion, and then what do I do with that? Mm-hmm. And that's why I said, not saying, life ain't been like we haven't had like good times, like we've had amazing times, but in the process of that,
I'm doing a horrible job
right now. But like with the things of why we haven't been consistent and haven't been giving content, because I think that's the whole premise behind this, is why are we back at this again? Life has been lifing, adulting has been adulting. Things have not consistently, I'll put it that way, been on the up and up, but have we carried on in it? Yes, we have. We've carried on. So I wasn't saying that I don't want you to think like I'm saying, oh, it hadn't been like peachy keen, but I'm saying that the things that we have been dealt, the way we process that has been different.
Yeah, but
because you processed it differently. I processed it differently, but we're back in this seat together as Mo and Tiff, because we see that there's a need that people need to see. Hey, whatever the pieces that have been broken can be put back together. The only difference is it might be glued and you might be able to see the cracks, but it's together. It's whole. It's just like a puzzle. Like we put the puzzle together on vacation. We didn't want to break the puzzle together. We wanted to preserve it. So what do? We got puzzle glue. You can still see each individual piece and can see where it was put back together, but it's whole and it's stuck because we've now glued the thing back together. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to put it on show because, hey, we worked hard to keep this as a whole piece.
I need that puzzle too, Mom. Go ahead.
So that's the thing of why is Tiff back in this seat? It's because at the end of the day, people need to know that, hey, you can pick up the pieces. You can mend yourself back together. You don't always have to have, self-care, I gotta go on vacation, I gotta do this. No, pick up the pieces and that's the self-check. Like I have been doing multiple self-checks. All right. When I ain't right, I need to be able to tell myself I ain't right. When I'm in a funk, I need to be able to say, hey, and that's FUNK. But when I'm in that,
there's something else?
No, because some people be, I learned that the hard way in class one day. So
that's why they don't let me in class.
That's why they don't let you in class. But that's why I'm back in this seat to be able to say, hey, Mom, hey, you grandma out there, hey, you auntie, hey, you teenage girl, you preteen girl, you younger girl, hey, whoever you are female wise, even though life deals the hand, you can still make it a good hand.
Yeah.
And you can still persevere, because I couldn't do this if I would still wallow in things. Do I have days? Yes, I have good days. I have bad days. I have in between days. But I am learning that, one, as a woman of faith, I have to make sure that my emotions, one, are always, I need your water, put to the side.
So, but I think now as we close out, I think people want to know, are we here to stay, or are we here to stop, go, you know, that type of ordeal?
So sad. No, I mean, we don't know what life throws at us.
Right.
But I think that, or I can say I know that we know the importance of being able to continuously push the content that we push out, to make a difference, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, whether we're up, down, around the corner, upside down, whatever it may be, all of the emojis that are there, that as long as we are in our rightful places, that our goal is to continue to push this content out consistently.
Well, I know for me, as for me and my house, we will do content.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah. We're gonna do content. I know that this space is not occupied enough. I say it on the Over podcast too, that this space is not occupied enough with believers and different other stuff like that. We as believers, our voice has to be heard, especially to me, I would say this last stretch.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the last stretch.
Not the last stretch.
So we'll be putting some stuff together. We got the Over podcast doing this thing on this fourth episode. Then we have Mo and Tiff back in the saddle doing their thing. Then we're gonna have the Mo Epic gaming channel.
For all of you gamers out there.
Keep me in your prayer. But hey, and that's gonna be whatever God give us. I know people like, you guys doing a food review. Gonna be doing a few reviews. Food reviews will be coming back. I think we're gonna start off with something light here and there. So
because it's still about health, y'all. So we're gonna eat the food now. Just tell us what you need it
for sure.
We still like to eat. That ain't like that's still.
You know what I'm saying? But we are truly back. One thing we do want to say before we close out is Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Make this 2025 a great one. We truly love you. Thank you for your support over all the years. You guys have been holding us down.
We started this, man.
It's been a long journey.
Yeah, almost 5 years ago, because it was when the January.
Yeah.
So almost 5 years. January 2025 will be 5 years. That we have just been doing this all together. That's where the Made Over channel developed from. That's where you saw the food reviews.
Yeah.
Reviews in general. And then we have now grown to different types of
we've learned a lot.
Platforms for podcasting. And then also to be on the lookout for just having guests. Talking to former guests and bring them back to see where they are now.
Yeah,
so we're locked and loaded.
We're gonna try to see if we can get Jackie Hill Perry, y'all. My wife, she's just probably just gonna sit there and look. She's such a Jackie Hill Perry supporter.
Yes.
And I am too, because that. But as we close this out, thank y'all for tuning in. I am Mr. Mo.
And I am Tiff.
Keep God first.
And the rest will be added.
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode.
I just took a break, okay, and now it's back to work. God made a way, that's the only way it it work.